Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say, so I will start from the prompt engineering because I switched the screen at that time. Okay. No problem. Okay. So in prompt engineering, so that's why I try to explain. Any one thing I can do again. Delete your chat. Okay. So what I did. Okay. So what I'm explaining in the prompt engineering. So when you try to connect to a model, you need to provide the specific details to the model. Okay. And there are some techniques that you use. So main part is you need to provide the instruction. Okay. You have a context to provide instruction to specify that one context. You need to provide the details. Then you have input data to provide and then the output indicator. Okay. So I was talking about the different techniques. So you have the zero shot prompting. There you ask the question without any example. Okay. So it's like translate this sentence into French. So it's just a simple common task. Okay. Then you have one shot prompting. There you provide with the statement. You also provide an example. Okay. Then you have two shot. In there you provide multiple two or three examples. Like here we are providing 2 plus 2 is equals to 4, 3 plus 5 is equals to 7, and then we are asking a question 6 plus 7, what will be the value indirectly. So it's like we are already providing the data to model or AI to have the understanding or pattern. Okay? So he know the pattern and then he can already uh, put it in this way. So it's more like formatting classification or something. Then I explain the uh, chain of thought. Okay. Chain of thought is a reasoning part. Indirectly, generally we use chain of thought prompting in the reasoning part. So when you want to solve any math problem step by step, or if you want some details, anything with a step by step, like okay, I need to write anything in the research paper. Also, you can write it. Okay, write a research paper. Show me the steps of research paper step by step by step. Okay, so it will provide all the details in this way. And that's the main part I am talking about is a role-based prompting. In this way, in role-based prompting, uh, primary you will add a persona to the people, role or persona or something. Uh, it's like asking AI to take some hat or some person details, okay, and then then you ask him a specific question. Like here, uh, like act like a software engineer and review this code. Okay. So if I ask, if I provide this one and I am providing the code, so system will automatically switch in the mode. Okay, it's a senior software engineer. I need to take a hat on this one, take a hat of this one. So I need to review this code on the basis of like I am a systems. So you are providing him a role. So it's like expert responses. Currently, when we do a research or something, we use a lot on this one, role-based prompting. And last one, this one we do not mostly use. This one I am talking about is meta prompting. This is a new one. Uh, it's a like before, more like you are asking a model to create a uh, to create a indirectly generated. So you are asking a model to provide him a prompt to do something indirectly. Okay, so it's like meta prompting is like a technique where LLM generate or define the prompts for the other LLM. So you can ask a cloud, okay, cloud GPT like, okay, this is my case, provide me the prompt. So what I did at that time, I asked him, I asked him indirectly this way. So this is a meta prompting. So what he's saying, okay, consider here is a strong prompt to generate the Python application. So it already considering a fast API. This and now he's providing me a prompt. Okay, so in prompt, if you see, he already take this part. So that's why I'm trying to explain it directly. You are a senior Python backend developer, so it's a role-based prompting. So what system is suggesting? Okay, you take a hat of this one and then try to build this one. So this is the instruction. Okay, then you have the requirement. So these are the input what we need to provide, and after that you have the deliverables like output what he need the system need, we expect from a system, and some constraint. Okay, and he provided in different ways. So it's a fast API, Postgre, and this one in another language. So and again he ask again some question. The system again asks some question. Okay, in which gateway you want to include, like Stripe, PayPal, Eden, Mobily, or something like that, or you want a subscription base, or what is. If you provide this detail, it will automatically update this part. Okay. Next, I am showing the new chat directly. When you open the cloud chat GPT, you already see this screen. Okay. And when you see this screen, if you click on this plus, you have a deep research also. Okay. When you try to do a deep research, system will automatically think in that way. It's more like a thinking a PhD, or someone is doing a PhD, or some graduate level thing. Okay. So it's a chat GPT 502. It's much more advanced on that one. Okay. So that's why I'm telling indirectly, when you next time if you try to do something, if you're doing a deep research with some specific question, just click on this one, select this one, and then try to put it. So it will provide you a detailed report on the research. So it will help. This part will help when you have some topic and you need to analyze, like, okay, like it will, when you do a research, it will automatically check all the papers and everything. Okay, and provide you a references. Another part also, there is an app. You can include the apps also. Okay, and here also, if you want to currently, if you provide the its prompt, it will go to everyone, like it check everything. Okay, but if you want like something specific to check, you can select those cases, like web search. Okay, you want to just do a web search, nothing inside some documents, something like that, so you can put it into a web search. That part I this part I explain. And next part I'm explaining, because we are using a chat, but there is another part also. GPTs is like some users or some companies already taken this model, because it's a free source model. uh, Chat GPT one, you can use it. So they have taken that model and train on specific data. Okay, so if I click on explore GPT, you will see, okay, these are the custom versions of the GPT. Okay, that combine the instruction. Okay, so you see there are lots of uh, part already there. Okay, if I click on research and analysis, you see 12 or 13 will be there automatically. And if you read the heading, uh, just the part, then you will see, okay, what is Scholar AI is doing? AI research assistant, search and review 2000 M plus scientific paper, patent. It's more like what I say, uh, model that is trained for specifically for the research assistants. Okay, it's work like in the same way. If you click on chat, it will show you it will mostly you have to prompt in the same way, but it will be more efficient if you are doing some specific things. Consider the GPTs. Okay, it's much more better than the prompts. So because these are already trained, so it will work in this way. Okay, like you can see the conversation also. Find me the paper that reference this one. Write a VAR for robot surgery, or write an experimental sheet of this one, like PDF, experimental setup of this one. So it will try to provide everything. Okay, this one is there. Then Scholar GPT is also there. That what I thought indirectly. So if you see, it's already have a access to Google Scholar, PubMed, BioRI, RXIV, RXIV, and more. Okay, so and if you do not know the research topics, also you can search it. Like what is the latest part is ongoing, and it will try to provide the details on this one. Okay, so these are the GPT's part. So That as was going to cover. And now mainly the this one deep research I already covered. This one I just cover quickly. And then we go to the another part on checking on each of these one. So deep research I already mentioned. Indirectly deep research, if you want to understand any topic, how it truly work, then you need to do a you need to use the deep research feature of the OpenAI indirectly. Okay, so you explore everything like research paper, technical blogs, real case study. So it will do everything. It's not more like about just reading. It's smart indirectly learning, smart indirectly that way. And when we use deep research enabled tools, mostly it's a source when you need to summarize. So ins- uh, instead of switching between the dozens blocks or docs or forum, you can just use the deep research and ask him to the research on the everything or every way. So it will provide you a concise details. You can use for literature review also, citation analysis, on qualitative data analysis, exploratory data analysis, and synthesis also, like tool patterns analyze in this way. So that way you can use the deep research part. Okay. Now, if I go in this way, so these are the mostly six tools, okay, that we have. Uh, each one have something specific, like Perplexity is for mostly for fast citations. Okay, when you have the citations detail, you can use it in this way. And then you have ChatGPT and deep exploration that I explained. Elicit. So I go one by one better. Okay. So I have perplexity. So if I log in into this one already, so just a basic sign up is required. Then here also you can have a chats. Okay, on the top screen. So in like ChatGPT, you here also have the details. So it's like a search, just to get the answer, but there is a deep search also. Okay, when you click on deep search, you are searching in depth for the advanced reasoning. And then if you want to just normal search, you can use it. Like if I search here, uh, like, okay, I just search this one. Okay. So what it will do, it will provide me a proper details on the platforms with the I choose the wrong one. So okay. So now it's taking time a little bit on thinking. But once you press, it will show all the details. Okay. With the links. So if we know just the topic, we can provide it here and it will automatically search. So time. So he's checking already the all papers and websites. And you have in this one because it's take time a little bit. So meanwhile, I will Yes. So maybe I discuss other part. So for perspectively, there is a so it's a mainly we use for real time, and it's mainly for citation. Okay, you do not need, I think, no, there is no login required when you use it into a casual mode. But if you want to do a deep research, then there is a one part indirectly here is a focus mode. Okay, you can put it that one. So it's more like same as a chat GPT way. You can specify the, I say, you can specify what he need to search. Okay, and there are free and pricey on that one. So chat, I will on this one. Just it take time. Directly, when you have this one, you already have a review of the sources. You can click on this one, okay? And if you want some specific details on this one, you can again do a query. But it's in thinking mode, so it will do a more detailed analysis, more like what we are doing the research. So updating the research document with the, this one and everything he will do. Okay? So okay. Now he's creating a comprehensive report. So if you see here, then there is a link also is present. So every time he provide a link and every details will be there. So if you know the topic, you can put it here and later on fine tune your details. So it's more like a first part indirectly, like doing a research analysis initial part. Okay. Uh, Eh, we use mostly perplexity when we need to do a research fast somewhere and it's easy for literature reviews. Okay. Then we have a chat GPT. I already explained the chat GPT. There is no much difference indirectly. You can use it and try to provide some specific details. If you have the research paper PDF or research paper also, you can upload it into a chat GPT. There is upload feature also. Chat GPT 4 have a upload feature. If you provide it and ask him to do a summary of that paper, it will provide you the details. So instead of reading multiple papers, you can directly put the paper or PDFs, or if you have links, you can provide it there also, and it will put our details section by section. Okay, and you have the beta texting also. Like if you want, like if you want to search something specific, you can put the browsing mode, the web mode, in the chat GPT also. Okay, then you have Elicit. Already this time I already did it for this one. Elicit is a AI-powered research assistant that is built for search and analyzing research papers. So what it did, it automated the literature review, summarize studies, comprise research findings. Okay, and how to use it? When you go in the first screen, you will see this one. Okay, when you log in. Okay, if you do not do upgrade, also that will work. Okay, you have this one, and there you can select the questions. Like you have a research report, you have symmetric reviews, find paper if you need to find some papers, okay, and paper chat. If you have some library, you can upload the select or select the sources here, and then you can query them. Okay, so this part it's mostly if I go here and ask some question, because I recently asked him one question like benefit of the what's the benefit of the using a transformation for the series. So he created a detailed report on this one, and we can see from where he gathered the resources, and you can save it as a PDF also. And if you want somewhere in the tools to be included, like download BIV, RIS, download text, so BIB or RIS, you can include it into a reference tools also. Okay, it provided all the reference. So it's more like a initial discussion report, research report only already done. Okay, and if you want to see the resources, you can choose it here directly. If I go to return to report, so there is a gather sources, screen sources, data extraction. If I click on details, I have the papers which he checked for this specific one. If I try to select this one, it will show me the details of the paper. For others also, this one, so he take it from IE, okay, and this one also. So in this way, so it's easier way to do a literature part indirectly, like that I mentioned, like automatic literature review, summarize studies, and if you want to find something, so elicit that use. Till now it's okay. Then you have consensus. Consensus is more like what I say is also AI power search engine, but that answer is questioned by the summarized finding from the peer review research paper. So it's more like not giving a opinion or random blog answer. It will scientifically, what I say, back the responses. So it's like yes or no. Okay, that part is mostly like that. So I have opened it already. So there is also when you go, you will receive this screen. Currently, if I have it, you will have it for 7 days, mostly free. After that, you need to pay, I think 700 or something. Okay. And if I search something, like this one. Okay. So what it will do, it will search, scan the thousands of papers. Okay. And return the summary indirectly. Okay. So cross validation. So you can read them, and citation is also mentioned. Like this is the number where the citations are present. So you can see like domain and the citation which have. So it will try to provide the details in this way. And you can of course export it and copy it to citation if you want to use it. Okay, so this is a better result, but these are the result. If you want to read the full text, you can also read it because it open in the terminal, the whole paper. Okay, so in that way you can read it, or if you want to export in the CSV or RIS format to store into your reference tools, then it can also be done. So most that's like the fourth tool that we use. It's mostly no, okay. So if there are free plans are there, but I think Pro plan is here is expensive, but I do not know in India. So that part is there, and another one, next one is Scite. So it's validate the claim by the citation types. Okay, so it's a smart. I try to already open it. Okay, so it's a powerful research tool that find the academic paper and show how those paper are cited, whether the citation support or contradict, or merely mention the original study. So it's ideal for verifying scientific claim, understanding context, and identifying trustworthy resources. So you can log in it and try to provide some detail, like I can provide graph, something neural network. So think, but it will return the list of the academic paper with the metrics, like in how many. Okay, but I can explain this in because I think I need to upgrade it. Uh, so yeah, it will return a list of the academic papers. But if we go, oh, it's more like it's provided details of the paper, and in the paper, along with that, you can see how many times that paper has been cited already. So it's like supporting documents. So you have the count also. It's author, publication year, journal link, you have details and total number of citations, supporting document mentioning. So everything when you search the here, it will show which paper, how it's referred and how many times it's referred. So indirectly uh, for uh, to support the contradiction or validating a scientific claim on something. And last one that I use mostly, sorry, set again. So if I go in search, so there is a research rabbit. Research rabbit is a visual research discovery tool. It's more like a what I say. It's like a it's a help to explore, map, or track scientific paper and author. So if you provide him like it will connect everything. So it will show you in a graph way, like through citation or co-ownership. You can consider this more like a library of the academic literature, most like a Spotify something. Okay, so if I provide um, if I provide him something like I use this. I do this search, so it will provide me all the papers related to this one. So this one is there, you have this one. So all the papers are provided. So what you need to do, if you click on this one, it will come here. So you need to indirectly do a, what do you say? It's just like a add to collection. Okay. When you are doing add to collection, like if I remove it, I select this one. This one is already there. I have two. So I created a collection. I put it in the some name. Okay. Then if I added the paper, then I do a search. So what it will do, it will check all these paper where they are connected. So it will try to check all the citation in the papers in co-author and try to find a similar paper or where it's referred. So if I do a search, so if you see this one similar to two articles. Okay. So if I click on this one, it's trying to show me where it's connected. So this one we have selected and it's connected to this one. So it's more like a graphical presentation where your paper is referred, or if your paper is referred somewhere where that paper is indirectly referred. So that part indirectly you can see, and if you click on that one, you will see the paper also. And that if you want, you can select it to a collection also, and then again do a search on that one. Okay? So it's more like what I say, visual way of exploring research papers. Mm, So that part, okay. So mostly these four tools, I think you will get a more detailed idea on that one. But when you use it and when you know the prompt properly, it will work in this way. Okay, so that part is there. I will try to cover just this one also. So now we came on the limitations also. Okay. It's more like what I was trying to say. If you use AI also, okay, but there are some limitations that we also face. Okay, that's why I told you when you do a prompt, you do not if you provide your answer, but you need to little bit verify it also. Okay, sometimes it do not do properly. So what we call it as a hallucination. Okay, so it's like a AI tool that is creating a fake information that sound realistic. Okay, or for instance, it can refer to a non-existing research paper, invent fake authors also, or offer misleading data. Okay, when I did last year on something, then it provided me a wrong data also. If you ask him a question, then it will say, okay, that information is not correct, so I'm optimizing a little bit. So just do a cross check also. Okay, another part is lack of deep critical thinking. Okay, academic research involve indirectly interpreting result, drawing conclusion, and evaluation or opinion. Okay, that insight cannot be replicated by an AI. Okay, uh, it can do so with the help of AI tools. You can find the research topics, summarize them, rephrase them, but true understanding and critical thinking availability should not be there. Okay, so we need to consider that part. Third part is free plan limits. So mostly free plan limit, you will able to do limited part, but after that, it will not work indirectly. So you need to upgrade it. And I'm not no because I'm in Belgium, it's costly, but might be in India, it's a little bit cheap because I heard that GPT for academics is a little bit not expensive. So that part. And but another part is also over dependence. So indirectly, when you are searching, you need to check in your way also. Otherwise, it will create a problem in the understanding. Like AI can summarize and draft, but later on, then critical thinking, we will lost it indirectly. Okay. I think I am at time. I'm not able to see.
Priyanka, can you just hold on, Abhishek?
Yeah,
Priyanka
yeah,
is.
no problem, no problem. Cover that one also, but okay, I will share with the PPT also these details because last week I created a prompts. Okay, so for each academic topics, I created a prompts. Okay, like you have a topic explorer, so it's a role-based prompt. If you see act like a expert research methodologist, so same for literature review, argument station. So I created a Notion, the Notion part. I will attach it with the PPT also if you share. And one more thing I created this one. This one will be good if you have it. So it will work. So what I did, I combined all the prompts. Okay, and I created a big one indirectly. So that's a you need to provide a context. You have a role, you have guidelines to provide, you have solution framework, what you want, evidence, author. So everything I try to include what you need in the paper. Was just you need to change this part, okay? And that I also mentioned here, like subject area. If you are beginner, immediate, or advanced, you can put it. and some specific questions you have, you need to put it some initial information. But if you provide this prompt to any of the part, your most of the part will be taken care with the unique details. Okay? So it will respond in this way, like heading, clear heading, and source and evidence. So practical and information. So then later on, you can validate on that part.
Oh,
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
on behalf of organizing committee, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker for delivering an engaging and informative session on citations in research, structure, tools, and techniques. Your session has greatly contributed to our understanding of the importance of proper citation practices, research documentation, and the effective use of citation tools. The practical guidance and examples you shared will empower faculty and researchers to maintain academic integrity and improve the quality and credibility of their scholarly work. We also appreciate your patience in addressing participants' questions and making the session interactive and highly informative. Your expertise has significantly enriched the learning experience of all participants. We are truly thankful for the valuable time, effort, and expertise you invested in making this session both engaging and informative. It has undoubtedly added great value to our academic community. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for this
Thank
inspiring
you.
session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Just a request: when you exit, kindly leave the webinar. Don't press the end webinar button.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. हाँ, आ गए आप? Over, dear participants, over to the next session. It is my proud privilege to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Samit Saxena. Mr. Saxena is a technology leader and generative AI strategist with nearly a decade of professional experience in the field of AI and machine learning. His work lies at the intersection of AI, enterprise scale implementation, and the study of how human cognition and machine intelligence can be effectively integrated to solve complex problems. Over the course of his career, Mr. Saxena has worked closely with founders, senior executives, and global technical teams to define AI strategy and translate it into production grade systems spanning the full life cycle from solution conceptualization to scalable architecture and operational deployment. In his professional role at Quantify, he has been extensively involved in the design and deployment of large scale generative AI systems, including autonomous multi agent architectures that function as end to end problem solving systems rather than isolated applications. His work emphasizes the treatment of large language models as foundational reasoning and orchestration layers capable of planning, decision making, and coordinated action, thereby enabling measurable improvements in delivery efficiency, productivity, and system level performance. In addition to his technical contributions, Mr. Saxena is an active speaker and mentor, engaging with academic and professional communities on the responsible and effective adoption of AI, with particular emphasis on designing agentic systems that augment human cognition. In today's session, Mr. Saxena will share his perspectives on the evolving definition of software, the role of agentic workflows, and the implications of these developments for research and teaching. Kindly welcome Mr. Samit Saxena. Welcome, Samit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jari. Really grateful for this opportunity, and it feels a true honor to be amongst such distinguished audience, and it's my privilege to be speaking here today. So with that, I think we should get started with the session. I will be sharing my screen and we can get started.
Yes, Amit, you can start your session.
Yeah, just a second. I was just pulling up the screen. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah, just a second. Yep. I think I just turn off the camera. It is some bandwidth issue. Screen is still visible, right? Everybody can see my screen, right? Yes, no. Can anybody confirm? Okay, great. Cool. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, uh, for attending this session. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that I truly believe is the future of software development, and more importantly, I'm going to talk about the mindset that all of you would need to adopt in order to reach full potential as researchers and academicians. Today is about understanding the shift that we are already seeing in the age of AI, a shift on how software is created, a shift on how work has been reorganized, and most importantly, how problem solving happens in different areas of industry, which we will be able to extrapolate to even research and teaching. The term software 3.0 teaches us a language to describe this kind of shift. I'll be explaining in detail what software 3.0 means, and then we'll connect it how it would relate to everybody out here. And agentic workflows are basically a practical way of how these kind of workflows can be automated in today's environment. My goal here would be simply to walk you through this entire change that is happening around us step by step, so that you could place your own work based on your daily activity. So moving on, let's talk about the agenda. Here's how we will move through the session. We'll start by understanding the definition of software itself, how it has changed over the period of time. We'll talk about why that makes every professional a problem solver. Then from that, we will look into what an agent is in the truest sense and why would it matter for you. And then we will look at how repeatable works could be automated within the modern day systems without a lot of programming, and in fact, no programming at all. Right? And then eventually I will talk about what are these implications of all the four things that happen. Please don't think of these as 5 different topics. These are all just one continuous story wrapped in different chapters of it. Nothing in today's session would require prior technical knowledge. All I would need is just your curiosity throughout the entire session. Moving on. So this is just a framing reminder that we are going to be discussing today as a technical evolution, and it's probably more than that. It would require changes in the way we think, we work, we build, right? And everything that follows after this slide flows from this central idea. Okay. Moving on. So what's our goal today? Right? This slide actually is the real anchor for the entire session. Our goal is not to use more and more tools. I'm sure all of you would already have a good bit of hands-on onto the different AI tools out there. But my aim would be to explain how you all could think in terms of designing systems, which means it, we'll be required to talk about 3 things, or 3 stages rather. The very first stage is the mindset, which is how do we think about our work? Then from that, we will move on to a practical workflow where I'll show you a demonstration of how you all could customize your daily activities into agents and how the automation really looks like. And then combining the first and the second stages, how could you use that as your personal advantage? How you could actually get the productivity gains compound over time, right? Using these systems. This slide is intentionally kept simple, right? Everyone here is already a programmer. When we hear the word programmer, many of us imagine someone writing code all day. But let's take a step back from that image. Every day, when you're in your academic and professional work, you're already taking ambiguous problems. You are clarifying them. You're breaking those large questions into smaller steps and sub solutions. And eventually, you will come to an outcome, and then evaluate an outcome and adjust your approach based on the feedback. At its core, that exactly what programming has always been about. Right? For many years, programming was very tightly coupled with syntax, but syntax was never the essence. It was simply an interface. Today, what's changing is the interface is now moving to the human way of thinking, which is natural language, which is simple plain English, right? So for decades, if you see, uh, programming always meant writing complex code in Python, Java, C++. And the question was very straightforward, can you code, right? Today, the very same question has now evolved in a certain direction, right? And that has actually come down to clarity of thinking about the problem, right? You must be thinking how could that be the situation, right? I'm going to demonstrate that with two particular examples today, right? That how clearly think about the problem is what is going to make the difference, right? Not how hard you work, how fast you work, and things like that. Okay. Earlier, uh, it was very, very evident that if you did not know any of these programming languages, you could not probably build an entire application or solutions for whatever concepts that you had in your mind, right? But today, we have, software 3.0, which I'll be talking about in the next slide. It will help you create applications right off the bat, just with the clarity of thinking, knowing what questions to ask, what questions to really solve for, right? And why this is important for researchers and educators like you all is because it places the domain expertise at the center of its creation, where all of you are the masters, right? So let's look at that. I've been speaking for a while about software 3.0, right? So let me explain what this actually means, right? Uh, Stage one, which is software 1.0, this is where we actually, explicitly write code in any of these C++, Python, Java, and it's completely handwritten logic and it's fully deterministic. Another way to look at that is there is no sort of autonomy which comes into this unless you are writing explicitly into the instruction, right? I probably write a program to display or let's say, add two numbers. It just does that. It doesn't go ahead and create a calculator on its own, or, it doesn't have a brain of its own outside the explicitly coded instruction, right? Um, then came the age of software 2.0. This was, I think, this was 2010-ish kind of age, where basically neural networks started taking a lot of traction, right? And in this software 2.0, what changed was that we were able to teach certain kind of patterns to the right? Which means if I gave you a bunch of images on cats and dogs, right, you could train a neural network on top of that. And then eventually you could predict, given a new image, whether it's a cat or a dog, right? Now, if you see, there is some sort of partial autonomy which has come into software 2.0, right? And that did not mean that the earlier softwares, were moved out of the use. It was just a new way of expression or intent that we got. Cut to today, we are at software 3.0, where literally a natural language instruction becomes a program. Think about it. Like, let's say you are preparing, interview questions for a certain position, right? You just give it enough context. Let's say you are using ChatGPT or any other large language model, or any other interface. You could just simply put in your context, and then you will be able to create enough questions, enough high quality questions for you to directly use in your respective task. Now, this is the kind of change which has come, right? And natural language has actually becoming a programming language. It is not, one, it's not two. There are many juggernauts out there and CEOs and CTOs, right? I want to talk about two of them, which is Jensen Huang, as well as, Andre Karpathy. Both are very known figures in the areas of AI, right? And both of them feel and have told very explicitly that English is the new programming. In short, natural language is the new programming, right? So this is what we just spoke about. So in short, if you're able to, describe what you want to achieve, what are the constraints that matter to you, what kind of output is useful to you, you are effectively specifying a program. And this is the first time in the history where, the entire primary interface about creating a software is all about human language. Okay. Moving on, let's just understand that what it means for each one of us, right? So from being an executor, all of us have now progressed to become an architect. Right? Why I say that? Because this is not just a technological shift, it's an identity shift in terms of the way you approach your work. Work is moving from executing tasks to designing systems that could handle large scale systems, efficiently and in a smooth manner. Right? That does not mean you will stop doing your hands-on work. That will continue as it is. What it means is that you will increasingly design how systems will have, operate in a larger ecosystems of, massive ecosystems of agents. Right? Maybe there's one probably agent who's your personal assistant who manages your calendar. There's one personal assistant who manages the kind of the next steps that you have to do and acts on top of that, right? So there could be many such agents, right? Uh, I personally feel that in future, all of us would be required to have the skill of identifying what kind of agent would be required to solve a given set of problems. So we have been speaking enough about what an agent is, right? Let me walk you through what technically an agent means. So by definition, it is, an agent is an autonomous software entity that uses large language models, tools, and memory to achieve a certain goal over a period of time, right? Unlike the large language models who just respond to your questions, agents are primed to really chase a particular goal and objective and solve it till its entirety, right? So agents are really proactive in nature. They will understand the user intent, they'll create a plan, they have the capability of using tools, which is one of the major defining factors, and it lets them take action in real world, and then we'll see how that makes a difference, right? And it also has the capability of learning and self. So these are all the four, major functional components that, depending on the maturity of each of these components, the autonomy of that agent is decided. So if I have a very mature set of these four components, planning, action, tools, memory, I'll have a higher grade of autonomy. So what is really happening over here, right? If a task is given to any agent, right, it is given, and the first planning agent on the planning stage gets activated, and it will decompose the given problem statement into some smaller sub goals. Okay. It will use some chain of thoughts. It will do some sort of planning, and once the planning is done, it's now time to take action, right? Now, actions could be taken through the tools or directly through the LLMs, depending on the nature of the task. Either, it will use the tools to take an action, or it will take it directly if, a large language model is sufficient for that. And eventually, all the context that is required will be fetched from the memory. It could be a long-term memory, short-term memory. There's also a concept of working memory, which I have not shown over here, but then basically all set of context that you need to provide, right? So this is what these are all the components of an agent. Now, what is interesting is that how does it really, boost our productivity? How could I say that, agents are really massive upgrade to our productivity? Human thinking, as you know, is really powerful, but it is naturally very sequential in nature. We usually focus on one problem at a time, and I think scientifically, what I would know is that human conscious could just process some 10 to 50 bits per second only, and that's the natural bottleneck that we have, right? And I don't think so much could be done as of till now. We haven't seen a lot of it, where we could increase this capacity of processing this conscious thought. I'm just talking about the conscious thought right now. While on the other hand, if you're using a set of agents with you, you could do multiple lines of work in parallel, and you would be basically commanding armies of agents, and they'll be doing the work for you. But the prerequisite for that is for you to understand, how do I really agentify a particular given set of tasks? Anything that is repeatable actually becomes a candidate for that, right? And this is how a lot of things that you would do in a matter of days will now collapse in 2 minutes. And we have already seen that using, I mean, the simplest example is ChatGPT for like any of the users that you would have been already doing, right? So what is the real question after this? The question which often is asked is, what is the cost of adopting AI, right? I'm going to talk about this through a demonstration as well. That what is the real cost, right? How much does it take? What are the skills that are required, right? But more often than not, in my industry experience, I've often asked, what is the cost of not automating, right? If I don't automate the work, which is where AI can already, which has been, they have been proven to, do things much better than humans, then are we not really, uh, you know, uh, doing injustice to what best, our potential lies in, right? So just think of, in terms of literature review, data compilation, citation tracking, preparation, teaching material. There's so much amount of time that is spent. But can I use tools, systems to, solve this out? Yes, I can, right? Um, Basically, if you look at your daily tasks, it will come down to some set of repeatable workflows. At least there'll be some portion of it which each one of us would be having, right? This has been, I mean, my experience working with different CEOs, CXOs, and through different companies, and almost everyone has certain set of automatable workflows, right? What you need to do is start looking at them in terms of a set of tasks that could be chained together, such that you know what are the instructions that you would pass to a junior, or somebody else where you whom you would delegate the task, and the very same mindset is what you would be requiring in order to automate the project, right? So lots of theory. Now I want to talk about actually building these systems. It's very important to note that the future advantage is not about working harder, right? It is. I have a very strong hypothesis that people who will have a strong system design or systemic thinking about uh, these kind of workflows will be the people who would actually lead the curve, right? All of you being a part of the session are already ahead of the curve, I believe, but then yes, I'm super excited to show you what that looks like. So consider a problem statement given to you like this, right? It's a pretty relatable one, I believe. Very realistic task, and some of you would have already, been given a task like this. So what is it? Basically, the background is that you have been handed a 20-pager foundational paper about a research topic. Let's say your research topic is transformer architecture, right? Your task is to present findings about transformer neural network architecture within 2 to 3 day time frame. Okay. And the instructions given to you by your seniors or the person who has delegated this task to you is that you need to go through the foundational paper. And he's already given one paper, which is like he or she has given this paper of attention is all you need. This is one of the, like, I think this was the birth certificate of the transformer architecture, because this was the first time they had introduced. And I think Google Brain was, had presented this paper out. So basically, your instructions are that you must understand the core ideas, you must identify the influential authors, and then follow up their relevant work, and then synthesize the most important papers into a clear, structured research summary. Now, for you to do that, I think in given period of time, traditionally you would be doing a lot of searching and doing a lot of logistics and operational overhead tasks, and probably you'll be left with lesser amount of thinking time, right? It sounds very, very, relatable, because almost in one way or the other, all of us are researchers in some capacity. So yeah. So there are primarily three hurdles which anybody would face in these kind of problems. Number one, it's the time, right? You will spend enormous time of just figuring out what material is even worth looking at. Number two, it will be basically the navigation. So this particular paper has like 30 or more citations. And now what you are required to do is to understand which citations actually matter, which ones are foundational, and which are just peripheral in nature. And then the third hurdle is more about that which authors are actually shaping this space, right? There'll be a lot of authors in this particular citation list or catalog that you would have maintained, right? Now, given these three problems, it is just way too much, cognitive load. So what do we do, right? Now we are going to look at how agents are going to solve this, right? I'm going to use a tool to explain this to you. Before we go on to that tool, I just want to, kind of summarize what we traditionally would do. Traditionally is 80% time searching and 20% thinking. Through agents, we spend 5% time in searching the right and the relevant content. And this is where we would be required to design a certain system, or maybe use a tool or an agent which is already pre-built by some third party, the third party company, right? So if 5% time is spent on creating the systems and searching what it needs to search, you will get much more time in order to think and synthesize. Now, for thinking and synthesizing, the first, okay, before I move on to that, I just want to give you an overall structure that, hey, in this particular task, you already have a research paper with you. Ideally, you are supposed to read this paper, extract the key signals, identify the authors and citations. Then you need to identify that out of these respective authors, who are the most influential ones, right? What kind of work have they done outside this paper, and eventually decide that, hey, I'm just going to read these three papers, and that will be more or less enough for me to compile a set of research findings, and then give it to, like, in whatever seminar that you have to present, right? The idea here is not, I'm just taking a simple workflow here today, but that does not mean that it is only these kind of simple workflows that could be automated. For the sake of, the scope of the time and the, simplicity that I wanted to introduce, I have taken up this particular workflow. Okay. So for this, I'm going to use a tool called Langflow. Okay. For those of you who have, who have been coding a little bit, you could actually spin it up through your VS Code. For those of you who don't know that, there are enough, places, data stacks and, places like that where you could just go and register yourself and access this Langflow interface, right? Langflow is an open source, low code, no code platform for building AI applications, especially those that involve large language models, AI agents, complex workflows. And the major highlight is without requiring advanced programming skills. Rather, let me say, without even knowing any sort of traditional syntactical programming languages. So its core features are, building visually. You can just drop, drag and drop, and you can, create a workflows just like this, which I'm going to show now. Then it has low code flexibility that you can actually go with the no code, or if you have certain Python scripts, a person like me, who sometimes would want to, customize a certain set of APIs in a certain manner, right? I could just write my own Python component, right? I use a lot of coding assistance, and, I could create that and then integrate in the workflow. And the best part of it, this is not locally served to you. You could actually deploy it as an API. You can deploy it on the cloud. You could deploy it. There are many ways of doing this. So a larger set of people could be actually using the workflow that you design. The use cases are pretty common. I think all of you would be knowing this is for rapid prototyping, AI chatbots, RAG system, multi-agent orchestration. Cool. So now I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch my screen to the home screen of Langflow. Now, mind you, I'm going to be sharing line flow here. The idea is to adopt the mindset of how the system is to be created, not hinge onto line flow. Just like line flow, there are hundreds of tools out there in the market. All you need is just this mindset, and you will be able to create workflows like this anytime. So this is the landing page of the line flow. So I'm just gonna go and briefly show you how this looks like. So I just clicked on a new flow, and it shows me certain templates that you can get started with certain basic templates like basic prompting, vector store RAG, retrieval augmented generation. Then you have simple agent. Based on the use cases methodology, it has classified or grouped these these templates, the templates that are already available invoice summarizer, market research, memory chatbot, research agent, so on, right? Then you have classification based workflows, which are image sentiment analysis, text sentiment analysis, likewise for coding, content generation, Q&A, right? Now, if you talk about the methodology, it has classified in terms of or grouped in terms of the methodology as well, prompting, RAG, and agent. Just to show you, and this actually serves as a really good way to start learning any particular tool. Like maybe you are doing line flow today, and you may get a new tool tomorrow. The first idea I would always recommend is always look at the templates which are available. It just makes the learning so much faster rather than going to the documentation and learning. If you just pick any one of them, right? Let's say market research, right? So if you see, it talks about that, this flow helps you gather comprehensive information about the companies for sales and business intelligence. The prerequisites are Tavily and OpenAI. What is Tavily? Tavily is basically, it's a search engine optimized for LLMs, RAGs, and the AI systems in short, right? It's very efficient, quick, and it is optimized for the cognitive systems that we are going to be designing. So these are various components which are all, click, drag, drop, connect, run kind of, components. So this is how it looks, right? Now, you may be thinking that, hey, what is a agent? What is structured output? I'm going to explain all of that, right? You might say that, if you are configuring an agent, why do you need a structured output? Why do you need a parser? I'll tell you all of this in a while, right? I'll also tell you if you don't use this, then what happens. So if you had to clear, if I had to, create an application like this without using these kind of tools or software 3.0 or this agentic workflow, it takes hell lot of more coding for me to do and, spin up the backend, spin up the front end, and then integrate it and then deploy it. The entire life cycle is too huge. But now that's no more the case. These are pre-built components which just, help us a lot. Okay, so let me just tell you that what are the important components that you would need to keep in mind most of the times. So I'll just start with a blank flow here. Okay, on your left-hand side, let's just look at what we have. One is components, then we have MCP servers, then we have bundles, and then if you want to add sticky note. Only two things you need to keep in mind. One is the component, the second is bundles. Let's start with components. What are components? Basically, these are pre-built elements that you could drag and drop, click, and directly, include in your workflow. Please note, 80% of your basic workflows or your daily workflows could be automated just by knowing about these three components which are there. First is input output, second is model agents, and the third is files. Right? All the other ones, you may have to use it, but depending on the advancement or the maturity of the workflow, you may choose to use it. Okay. So what is it, right? Let me just show you. So basically in input output, either you could have a chat input output or, text input output, right? It has a playground over here. So you could just, you don't need any specific software to run a specific chatbot. You can just, click on, let's say, chat input, and this becomes the chat input. So the moment you click on playground, you'll be able to put a chat, right? Right now, it won't do anything because I'm not connected with it. So this is one. Right. Then you have, data sources. Basically, if you have certain API requests, you want to create mock data, you want to connect your SQL databases, right? These are, as I said, these are more advanced ones. models or agents is going to be very, very useful for you. It has things like language models. So if you click on, is there a question? Okay, I'll move on. So, so if you click on this like a language model, you could just click on any of the model providers. You would be knowing like OpenAI is one of the leading ones. Anthropic, where all the Claude models have been making a lot of noise, right? Then you have Google, and Google provides Gemini models. Right? You can also spin Olama models. Olama is basically for all of you, all of you who are from the machine learning background, you would know that you can spin up models on your laptop. You don't really need to, pay as you go to these kind of providers, right? So, I use Olama a lot of times. For today's section, I just want to show you OpenAI, right? And then you can select whatever model name is, do you want in that, and you can just select that. I've selected GPT-4o Mini. It's just one of the simpler, smaller models that we can use. And then there's something called an API key. For this, you will need to probably have your OpenAI account, right? And in that, you could dollars and then use this, right? It starts as low as I think $5, and trust me, I mean, you will take. I mean, for the kind of workflows that I'm showing you today, it will take at least 2-3 months for you to max out $5 also. So, like it really depends on the task, but the kind of workflows that are really repeatable, they don't really need a lot of um, you know, um, the dollars for it, right? Now, input is what? Input is basically, let's say I want to provide, I will connect this chat input to this, right? So I can just simply connect this, or I could type, depending on whatever I want to send to GPT-4o Mini, right? I don't need to bother on how this is going to send to the API. Right? For all of you, for those of you who are already from the programming background, you would know that actually I would need to have a developer account. I need to look at the API and then send my request in the JSON format to the API. None of that is there. Everything has been taken off. So as I was mentioning earlier that it has come closer to the way we think, this is what I meant, right? So I could just simply connect here. And then system message is whatever. Let's say you could just type, you are a helpful assistant. Whatever. You could just type any prompt. Okay. And then you can just connect it with what. So if you want to really create a chatbot, just put it over here, drag and drop, connect. Cool. So this is basically about the input output model agents, and then you'll have some LLM operations as well. Sorry, I think talking about the language models. So after this, there is something called prompt template. This is also really helpful. Sometimes you may not want to write the entire message like this. You would want to format it properly and then eventually connect it from there. So I'll probably write my entire prompt over here. And there are enough tools out there where you could just present your raw ideas. It will give you a very great, a very structured prompt template, and then you can pass it over here. The reason for doing this is because it increases the modularity of your system, right? It makes it much more easier to operate with these kind of functions, and then even if you have to debug something, it becomes very easy. Right? And then I think a very, very interesting concept is the concept of an agent, right? Let me show you what this actually looks like. This is also pretty similar to like a language model, but as I had shown you earlier in the deck, right, that the agents have their memory, they have the capacity of using the tools and then taking actions on top of that, right? So there's um, another parameter or another, you could say, node where you could connect the respective tools. There are multiple kind of tools. I'll just show you one or two tools also, which the ones that you could use. And then I think the rest of the things, are not really important under the models and the agents. Right. Then we have LLM operations, in which basically if you're doing large scale runs, if you're doing in batches, you'll need a batch. You have something like an LLM selector, smart router, depending on the kind of request, it could pick up different models. You don't have to always select one model. Depending on the condition, it can pick up a higher order model, a smarter model, a better performing model. Then another thing which I told you was important was this thing file. So you, like, in terms of read file, you can just provide a file and then it will just start with your workflow, right? So that There's one in write file if you want the contents of a particular, processed output from language model or from agent, you can just connect it. So this is about the predefined line flow components, but does it cover everything that you need? Not so much. I would say there is another very interesting concept which is called bundles, which is basically, these are the third party components, which are directly integratable in your line flow, workflow, and these have been created by the respective third party company. Right? Just to tell you, I think one of the connectors, or I would say custom component, these could be thought of basically as custom components. You would have heard of this archive. I think most of you would be using this very, very frequently as well, right? So this is basically the archive, um, the component that they have. And so it's got a very simple functionality: search and retrieve the papers from archive, right? Let's say if I connect this to this, and then from that, I want whatever is the output. Okay, let's just look at the output first, right? For me to just show you what are the chat output. Just gonna connect it over here. Drag and drop. Remove this. Okay, then you go to the playground. Let's say my query is transformer neural network architecture. Now this goes as an input, and you can actually, and you have, in fact, I've gotten the answers also. So again, there is no hassle of you knowing the programming language, knowing which API to hit, which key to have. It is all taken care of, right? Now it gives you in a certain fashion, right? Now you would want to know, hey, I want that this should be in a certain format. So what I will do, I'll probably go back to components. As I told you a while ago, that models and agents under that language model is really important or really useful, right? Zoom out a little bit, right? I'm gonna pass the input, or okay, I'm gonna connect the output directly from here. Okay. And let's say, what do we want to do? We want to say just present the name of the paper and the summary of it. Also provide some related concepts that I should research on. Okay, and what else do I need? Yeah, I need a chat output so that we could see what is happening. It's very simple thing, right? You give a input, and that from that input, it gives you the output from for the 10 search results are given to you, and then you pass it on to a large language model, and then you can ask it to do whatever we have asked it to do, right? In terms of name of the paper we want to talk about, and then what are the related concepts that are worth looking at. So I can just simply click on the playground, right? I'm gonna start new session probably. Okay, transformer neural network architecture. Okay, so it is saying, okay, cool. So what's the mistake that I have done? I have not provided the key. So I just had to do this. I can retry. Let's go back to the playground. So it has done that. It has started doing this. Okay, great. So now it has given me the name of the paper, the paper title, the summary, and the related concepts which it feels is important based on whatever input that I give. Now you could do a ton of other things, right? You could format in a certain fashion. You could do a lot of other things. The idea, what I'm saying, is that from idea to execution, the delta is really small. It is just in a matter of minutes if you know one of these tools, or just this mentality that creating this is not a big job, right? I'll also come to the cost aspects of it in a while. So yeah, so that's pretty much it from creating some workflow. So going back to the problem that we had, right? What was the problem that we had? We had actually, we had to solve for a particular thing. We had to solve about that foundational paper of transformer architecture, which is attention is all you need, and we wanted to design a workflow for it. So let's look at how this workflow could be designed. We have now played around with some individual components, elements, and then we know what. So the very first thing we would want to do is we want to put the read file component, right? Upload our paper to this. Either you can do this, or you can also, use the chat input. You can directly upload the paper every time, but just for the sake of demo, I didn't want to keep on uploading papers every time. So I've used the read file component, right? You can also pass a directory if you want, right? It also accepts a, directory on your system, local system. Right? Mind you, right now, what I'm showing you is on my local system. So like, it's very easy to play around with these kind of tools on your system. And the setup time is also not very high. It's just probably a matter of a couple of hours at max if you're starting from scratch, right? So first I've given my paper, that this is the paper my senior has given me, and I want to, circle around or center around all my findings through this on the transformer architecture. That I'm connecting it with the large language model component, which we just saw right now. And OpenAI is the model that I've chosen. I've already filled in the key. For the sake of demo, I've shown you that how a prompt template looks like, right? So in reality, a prompt template actually looks like this. Yeah. Like, it's just more structured. It's much more structured than what I was typing a while ago. So, you're given a full research paper. Your task is to perform the following steps carefully. And this is like some chain of thoughts that I'm asking it to do, right? Basically, it has to extract the paper, author names, publications, right? And then identify the top 3 authors based on frequency of appearance and apparent prominence within the reference list, right? I'm also giving some guardrails. You can actually use, I have a master prompt for myself. I could share it across later after the session is done. But yeah, you could use ChatGPT or any other way to just gather your thoughts in a certain manner and then create in a full-fledged prompt. What is very, very important that all of you should have in a prompt is the output format. What is it that you want? So I want a course summary, because that is a part of the task that I really have to do. Citation catalog, because I need to know who all are there in this particular paper. And then do a power player analysis. Let's read through this. What this means is that I need to identify the top 3 most prominent authors, right? Based on their frequency, their relevance to the research topic, right? And then that's how the prompt has been written, that it should be calculated based on the frequency and bibliography, and there's a and condition here, and who seems to be most foundational to the research topic. Both factors need to be considered. So either I can write it in a prompt template and connect it to the system message. System message is nothing but a guiding principle to the language model, that this is what you need to keep in mind. At the end of the day, it's a prompt only. Input is, you can also provide a prompt in the input, but in this case, we have certain metadata to operate on, which is nothing but the parse content from this. Okay, which is basically the content of this paper, the 20-page paper that I'm talking about. So then we will basically, we have connected the chat output because we want to see how the output looks like. If you don't want to do that, just remove this part. So it will just continue to, pass it on to the next stage. Next stage, I've used an agent. Why did I use an agent and not a language model here? Because now I already have certain, things with me. What is it? The original paper summary and the top authors identified from the power player, right? Now, what I want to do is, for all these 3 power players, I want to identify the top 3 papers that they have written in the space of my, research topic. So this is what I want to do. So that's the agent that I have passed. Now, know that it would need an internet search tool for it to, really fructify into something useful. So I've used Tabili Search API. Again, this is all free. You have you can actually look. I can show it to you. Right. So there's a researcher plan, right? And you could, all you need to do is just log in and take up this, researcher this thing, which is absolutely free. You do not need to pay anything for this. This is very easy, and you'll get your key over here, and that's the same key that I've imported in this, right? In any other tool also that you may use, the very same procedure will be there. And 1,000 credits is decent amount of credits, unless you're doing almost your entire weeks or months work through this. This is fairly a good plan to get started and at least learn how to design these systems and even do your regular work through this to a certain extent. Okay, I'm going to switch the tab back to the assistant. Right now, if you see, I have connected the Tavily Search API with this. Now, Tavily Search API is actually also a part of the bundles, which is the third-party component that I had mentioned. Right, this is where I got it from. Tavily, yeah. So it's got an extract API, a search API. So I am using the search API, right? And then agent will automatically determine that what are the queries that I need to formulate for each of those top 3 authors. How should I search? So when to call? So if I've got 3 authors, it should be called 3 times. And then for those 3, I need the top 3 papers. All of that the agent has understood just because I've written some 2, 3, 5, 10 lines of instructions, barely 10 lines of instructions, right? If you had to do it the other programmatic way, software 1.0, you would have to define proper loops for it. And those loops would have been, have to be configured in, whatever your traditional Python, C++ language, and then it would take a lot of this thing. Right now, I've just given it the instruction, the way you would give it to any other human being. It takes care of the rest part of it. Okay. I don't need to specify that, hey, you should loop 3 times. I have mentioned 3 authors. It knows that it will have to loop for 3 times. And that's why I need an agent. This particular functionality is not available in language model. Language model will not iterate 3 times. It will just respond. As I had shown you in my deck also, LLMs are passive responders. Agents are proactive chasers. So they will chase a goal. So your goal is, at the end, I have this thing, return the top 3 papers per author with a short explanation of publishing. That's the goal. Now, if you have given it the right tools, it will just figure out how to use it and then go to that, right? Eventually, I'm using another last component, which is the language model. This basically is just for identifying that what are the 3 papers I should actually look at out of the 9. See, top 3 researchers I chose, and for each researcher, 3 papers. So 3 cross 3, 9. Now, out of the 9, which are the top 3 papers I just need to focus, so that if I read this, I am done with my task. I don't need to gather through hundreds of citations and come across who is the best. That amount of work has already been done. Okay, and then there's a chat output. So let's just go to the playground and let's see how. So there are some sessions that I've already run. Let me see if I could run a new one, right? And you can actually see this happening. Okay, if you come to this, right, if you just click outside this, yeah. So the first thing, read file has been done. 3 seconds, 533 milliseconds for the prompt template. Now it's at the language model stage, where it is understanding the entire paper, taking out the 3 things, that we had asked it to do, which was basically giving us the summary, then the citation, and do the power player analysis. That which of all these authors are the top 3s that we should study more. It's still running. Okay. It will take its time. Okay, yeah, that's completed. It's now moved on to agent. Now agent has started. What agent will do for all the top 3 authors, it will start searching using this tool. What are the top 3 papers that they have, written with respect to the transformer neural network architecture, right? Or basically something which is very close to the core of the paper, right? Because we are passing the core of the paper to this particular stage. So it took almost 1.2 minutes and it has completed that. And then eventually it has come to the language model. So we should soon be able to see the output. And go back to this. Okay. Okay, let me start from the beginning. You remember I told you should use structured outputs at the beginning when I was showing you the market research, right? If you don't use, I have not used it on purpose. This is what happens, that you will get an output and this output is literally, it's not formatted correctly. So the content is correct, Core summary it has given you, very beautiful core summary it has given you, right? And then citation catalog also had asked, so it has given me that. It's just that the formatting looks a little off. That hey, what is this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? That's the reason you need to have a structured output component on top of that. Because if I had shown you the structured output, you would have seen, you probably wouldn't understand the delta. But now knowing that this is the case without the structured output component, you ideally want to use that. Even if you don't, it doesn't really make like it's just because you want to read it on the screen. Ideally, when I design these workflows, I don't like I probably while iterating through the initial phases, I will spend some time in reading through this. Otherwise, I don't pass it on the chat output. I just let it just move forward. Okay. So it has given you all the citations, right? And then the power player analysis, which I'd asked. And it says Joshua Bengio. It has appeared in 4 citations, then Kyun Hyun Cho, Noam Shazir, right? As far as I know, Joshua Bengio is actually a godfather of AI. I think there are 3 prominent ones. And Joshua Bengio is one of the godfathers of AI. Cool. So then from that, what did it do? It passed to the agent. What did agent do? I'll just show you. So the whole input has been passed as it is. We had connected. Now it automatically created a query saying Joshua Bengio's transformer architecture attention mechanism, right? And then it has tried to find all the respective papers, titles, right? You would have been doing all of this manually. Know for a fact that you couldn't have done this faster than what this agent has done, which is 1.2 minutes. Okay. And then Kyun Hyun Cho, same, the query has been formulated. And likewise, I think Noam Shazir was the third person. Yeah, Noam Shazir transformer, right? Now it has got so many links. Out of that, it will identify the top 3 ones, right? And it will give you the top 3 ones that, hey, for Joshua Bengio, attention is all you need is anyways the paper that you should look at, right? Neural machine translation jointly by this thing. So 3 papers for Joshua Bengio, 3 papers for Kyun Gyun Cho. Sorry, I'm not able to pronounce it really well. K Cho, let me just call it him K Cho. And then 3 papers for him, and then Noam Shazir, another 3 papers, right? And what was the last stage? The last stage was actually that, hey, okay, I don't have time to read through all this. I know these are prominent guys. I know their work is good. I can't go through all of them, right? I should be able to identify that you go through these papers, understand and tell me which ones are the most important ones. If I had to rank 1, 2, 3, right? If you see, the first one is attention is all you need, which anyways we have to read. No doubts about that, because it is kind of reverse engineering. We started from transformer architecture, and it eventually told us that attention is all you need is the most important paper, right? So this is one. Second, it has told us the neural machine translation jointly for align and this thing. So there are 2 of them. I think Kyun K Cho and Yoshua Benji both are the authors, right? And then the last one is the author. So it has given you all these kind of things, and at the end, if you just look at this, you will just find the 3 papers that you need to read. Right? We have already seen this. Attention is all you need. Neural machine translation, and then outrageously large networks. Right? In each of them, the top authors are only they must be a part of it. Right? By the way, yeah, I was talking about the godfathers of AI. Jeffrey Hinton is also one of the godfathers of AI. Right? So Noam Shazir, you could see in this paper, and then a neural, this is actually Kate. So Joshua Benju, and attention is all you need, right? Now just imagine, now I was, speaking all this while, and all that, I probably, you could say that Samit, you have experience on this, and it, doesn't take a lot of time for you. But to be honest, if any one of you just spends like probably a couple of hours with any tool like this, not just Langflow, I'm not advocating for Langflow, hundreds of tools which are available like this, you could do a lot of your things which you are doing in daily life, and you could just outsource it. Now, a very natural question that comes out is that, hey, Samit, like AI, we have been reading in newspapers and everything. It's really costly, right? It's not very easy to do, these kind of things, and it takes a lot of money. And maybe the ROI is not that great. So I want to talk about that, right? Um, yeah, everybody can see my deck, right? Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that I'm speaking on the right slides. Overall time saving summary. Yes, no, anybody? Uh, okay, yeah, I see a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. So let's just calculate the time saved, right? Per paper, I don't want to do, like, for the interest of time, I just have one more, I have another, agent to cover with you, and which is, I mean, the most important agent ever by far, right? And I say this with 10 years of experience in AI. I've never seen a tool as good as whatever that next tool is. So I'll just cover this quickly. Per paper, on an average, 3 to 5 hours you will be saving, and this is the calculation that, paper understanding, summaries, citation extraction, author-wise literature, relevance, and, relevance-based paper selection. Now, I could be wrong here. I'm not an expert on this field. All of you are, but know for a fact that what the answer that you got within 5 minutes, right? The kind of synthesized, crisp nuggets that you got, I really doubt there is a human out there who could do it faster, right? Faster, forget about faster, can do it in, like, probably um, 5 times, 10 times more the time also given. He could do it as good as this workflow has been able to do. Right? So what is the ROI, right? I really want to talk about the cost, and it's a lot of times, when I speak to a lot of different CEOs and this thing, I find, cost being a lot of times being misinterpreted, right? So the model that I've used here, it is the input output cost per million tokens is $0.15, $0.6. And then the token usage is 15,000. You have different ways to calculate this. I'll probably cover this, like, probably, you can message me on LinkedIn and I'll tell you how to do this. It's approximately this paper. It's a 20-page paper. It took 15,000 tokens. Output was 2,000 tokens, right? I have calculations for this also. I'm going to skip that for now, right? Cost per run, right? Let's just talk about this thing. Cost per run for one run is 0.31 rupees. 0.31 rupees. It is not dollars, right? So productivity, efficiency, and for all practical purposes, I'll buy your statement saying, Samit, it doesn't work in one go. I need to run this workflow 3-4 times and to get to all the answer that I want to. I accept that. So I will say that, okay, you will do 3 runs, right? 3 runs, 4 runs. Even if you are able to do that, the approximate time saved is approximately some 15 hours, which is approximately some 2 person days, because 8 hours of, you work a day, right? So what's the end outcome? End outcome is, for a workflow like this, right? It takes less than a rupee to run, and this is for just one paper. Even if you do it for 20 papers, how much could it cost? How much will it cost? It will not cost like more than 50, 60 rupees or 100, depending, like, unless you pass like really, really huge paper, like there's a paper which is like 400 pages or something like that, you probably need to use a larger model for that, Gemini model, then that the cost is high. It is again not exponentially higher. If I use the Gemini model over here, it will probably take, instead of 1 rupee, it will probably take more like 5 rupees will cost. But it will not be very exponentially high that, you're just losing out on dollars and money like that. And this is one mindset shift that I want all of you to, adopt, that it does not take a lot of effort to create workflows like this, and the cost associated is not very high. If somebody can give me my 2 hours of day time back to me, and if I have to pay him, let's say I just have to pay him 100 rupees also, I will be more than happy to do, right? So please, that's the mindset that I want to drive. I am really not advocating on use this model or Langflow or this. I'm just trying to tell you that this is what it is on the ground reality. Having, me, I create day in, day out these workflows. I do it on, these kind of no code, low code platforms. I do it, with the production grade coding systems. I've done it with all, right? And trust me, the cost is really not a problem given the productivity gains that we are getting. The main problem is we never look at any workflow from this perspective. We say, no, we can't do AI with that, right? So yeah, I mean, that was my point. So just quickly, key takeaways: any repeatable sequence of tasks can be automated. I just showed you that. Tools will change, system design mindset will not. Today you have used Langflow, tomorrow there'll be something else. 6 months down the line, I'm 100% sure there'll be something easier than Langflow. But your system design mindset will continue to give you the leverage over a given period of time, which compounds. Takeaway 3, clarity of thinking, domain knowledge are the real prerequisites. If I don't know the right steps, there is no good. Like, AI can't help me with anything. I need to know the right steps. I need to know which part should I outsource to AI, right? AI should always be used to augment your thinking and outsource all the logistic and operational tasks, not outsource your thinking. Don't never outsource your thinking to AI. I am against the notion of that. You should augment your thinking. You should have certain thoughts. Let it mold you. Let it critique you. Let it ask you some tough questions. Let it elevate your thinking to a higher order, way of solving. Right. I think, yeah, there's one more key takeaway that progress will increasingly be determined by the system enabled velocity. System enabled velocity can only be found through designing these systems, right? So in each of the domain, be it research, teaching, the actual industries out there, IT, this is the common denominator. I could see this pattern in each and every case. So if you could just design reusable workflows, delegate the cognitive work to the systems and run multiple lines of inquiry, you could easily, outpace, what is the average speed in today's environments. You could simply become 5x, 10x faster, right? And we just saw that right now. Great. So that gets me to the end of this particular one tool demonstration where I actually was telling you the kind of mindset that you need to adopt to get these kind of work done. Now I want to move to something else. Okay. What is this something else? uh, I'm going to make a very bold statement out here, and pardon me if I'm probably making a bigger statement here. If I want one tool that all of you should be knowing, like, irrespective, you do this, you don't do blank flow, it's fine. But in research and academics, if there's one tool that everyone should be thoroughly knowing, it's called the Notebook LM, right? It's absolutely gem of a tool. I'm surprised, to be honest, that why how Google is about is able to put freely distribute this. This doesn't require any setup. Abhi, whatever I had shown you, line flow, maybe a little bit 1 or 2, 3 hours of setup. This, there is no setup. Like, okay, there is literally a link. I don't know if I could post a link for you. Notebook LM. Yes. Can I post a message? Yeah, I think so. I just posted a message. I don't know if everybody is able to see it. Yeah. So I've just put it in the chat space. So it's very, very simple. Okay. I'm going to show you what exactly this is. Right. This is the landing page that you will see. Right. Very, very useful. There is no subscription, no payment, no fees, no tiers. Absolutely. The entry barrier is absolutely zero. Right. You just need to come to the space, the link that I've shared, and just click on try Notebook LM. Right. And yeah, you will see something like this, right? And and then some of you would be saying that, hey, like Samit, you made a very bold statement a while ago. Why do you feel this is so important? Before I explain it, what I've tried to do is I've tried to use Notebook LM to explain about Notebook LM, and I'm pretty sure it is gonna do better than me. Okay, so only the video overview part, a crisp nugget of 5 to 7 minutes, I'm gonna show it to you on what this tool has actually created, right? It didn't create it out of like nothing. I have done my research and inputs. I will talk about that in a while. Okay. There are 3 sections where there's a source section, chat section, and the studio section. I just want to first show you how does the video overview look like? What it has actually generated for me, right? So where is the video overview? Okay. This, okay. I'm gonna make this as full screen, and then let
Hello, Samit. Hello. Samit, you are not audible. Hello.
Yeah, sorry. The video was not audible.
No, video was not there, but you are not audible now.
Yeah, so
Now,
I'll just wait for the
now you are audible. Now you are
Acha, acha.
audible. Okay. So you
ठीक है,
can
ठीक है. So
restart
I'll
your
just wait
topic.
for the video to complete. It's a 7-minute video, and then
Okay.
I'll take over.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm waiting
Done.
for
Done.
the video. Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry. Was the video not audible? Video
The
was not.
video was not audible. In fact, the screen was showing, the video itself was not audible. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So none of I mean, it's just a blank. Like only the screens were there, but no audio like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. ठीक है. Cool. No problem. I thought there was an audio, but okay. I'll just quickly summarize. So it's basically got an audio also associated with this one, right? And it is explaining what all is happening, right? I could probably send just let just a second, just a second. I don't want to miss the opportunity for everybody to
If you
comprehend.
want to send the audio, you can. I can load it here and then click it.
Just a second, I'll try that on my system. I have a copy of this as well.
You can send it to me on WhatsApp.
Yeah, just a second. I'm gonna share another screen now. Share screen.